Tired of fairies and dragons? The Secret World is a dark counterpoint to the enchanted forests you're probably used to. Rather than rush you from waypoint to waypoint, the Secret World takes its time to tell its stories and build tension. This is an unusual game, and like many unusual games, it demands patience and focus. What makes this massively multiplayer game so unusual? It's the setting, at least in part. The Secret World occurs in an off-kilter version of our own planet. In New England, you learn of a league of young monster slayers. In Egypt, cultists worship ancient gods and sand creatures roam the desert. As a member of one of three factions, Templars, Illuminati, or Dragon, you explore multiple atmospheric regions. The ambience is thick and the incredible audio design keeps tensions high. If you come to MMOs to explore and uncover mysteries, the Secret World delivers big time.
Along like a proper family instead of bickering about who said what to whom like 40 years ago.
The writing is somewhat belabored, but it too sets a tone. The Secret World focuses on story, so while you do embark on some quests by stumbling upon objects out in the wilderness, most of them come from characters with melodramatic stories of haunted houses and zombie infestations. Some of the Secret World's quests can be boiled down to the kind of kill this, fetch that tasks you've seen in countless other games. But even when this is the case, developer Funcom does its best to give your actions great context. Objectives are organic to that particular area, and fit within the stories being told. If you enjoy online RPGs for the comfortable cycle of take quest, kill monsters, return for reward, the Secret World probably isn't for you. You can only queue up a small number of quests. The downside is that you perform fewer tasks at any given time. The upside is that you're fully conscious of why you're doing what you're doing at any given moment. And so you're generally invested in the mission at hand, whether that be investigating a creepy amusement park or tracking your nemesis. Some quests leave the old staples behind and stand out as a result. Sometimes you skulk about in the dark or avoid security cameras. More special are the investigation quests that force you to sort out puzzles or even jump online to do a bit of research. You identify paintings, translate Arabic, and follow clues to arrive at your proper destination. This stuff can be brain-bending, and that's exactly what makes those quests so wonderful. But when a game is always changing the rules, it needs to execute well, and the Secret World doesn't always fulfill its end of the bargain. Sometimes other players can inadvertently reset your puzzle progress. Sometimes you can't click on something because the mouse cursor requires pixel-perfect precision. Sometimes the quest simply doesn't work and you're left wondering if you did something wrong or if the game did. And sometimes the puzzles push past challenging and just get ridiculous. There are other bugs, glitches, and annoyances too, and they relate to a number of the game's different aspects, from the in-game web browser to visual glitches. Even right off the bat, you notice how floaty and inexact the movement and hotkey-based combat are. You're sometimes required to jump to higher places, but it isn't fun to actually jump in the Secret World. And the combat's visual feedback isn't timed well, which makes you feel disconnected from the action. That's a shame because there are complex systems living underneath. There are no levels, for instance, though you still earn ability points and skill points, and there's still a great sense of progression. There are no classes either. Funcom allows you to pursue pre-made sets of abilities if you want, but how you fight is determined by the weapons and abilities you equip. There are a number of weapon types, and you can equip 2 at a time, along with 7 active and 7 passive abilities. It's a free-form system, so you can purchase abilities from multiple trees and equip the right gear for the situation at hand. Meanwhile, you equip stat-changing talismans instead of armor and other gear. You can craft them too, using the Secret World's intriguing pattern-based crafting system. Just be sure to have a notepad handy. The game doesn't make it easy to refer to the necessary patterns. Your clothing has no impact, it's just clothing, but you can buy new duds from an in-game store. Or shamefully, you can also buy clothing from a real money store, which seems a bit of a cash grab considering the game costs a retail price and requires a monthly fee. As for combat encounters, they require you to be aware of your surroundings. Many creatures perform area of effect attacks, signaling the danger zone with a visible cone or halo. You need to dodge to avoid them, and to do so without getting the attention of any other giant bugs buzzing nearby. The game requires situational awareness in other ways too, particularly during 5-player dungeon runs. Navigating environmental hazards while determining creature behavior and the proper ways to attack is part of the fun, as is rearranging your abilities to best suit the needs of the group. There's player versus player too, including a persistent map where all 3 factions vie for dominance. There is some entertainment to be had here as you roam with buddies, but the secret world isn't focused on PvP. The auto-grouping tool isn't very helpful, and you can wait a while to find matches on certain maps and in PvP arenas called fight clubs. There's a lot to say about the secret world, so be sure to check the written review on GameSpot for more information. But here's what you need to know in a nutshell. The secret world has some issues that are really hard to look past at this stage, and it certainly isn't for everyone. But it has atmosphere and story in spades, and it requires you to think differently if you want to succeed. It's different and it's thoughtful, and those qualities alone make it worth playing.